worry about it. There we go. See, nothing happened. Nothing even happened at all. Oops, I paused it. Worst start yet. Oh my gosh. All right, there we go. We're all good. We are ready to go. And we are here. There we go. Welcome in, everybody. We are high atop a gorgeous College Station evening-ish. That was Josh Page intro for those unaware. I am Caden. This is Tag. We've only done like 7 or so episodes, but this is probably the most jam-packed episode that we've done so far. We have a ton to get to. We are going to start with kind of some leftover thoughts from the weekend. The series loss at Ole Miss. We're going to talk about A&M's path to a national seed, do a quick little recap of the other SEC series, and then we are going to get to Mississippi State. We're going to get to the Aiden Sims news. We're going to get to what the starting rotation could look like, and we're going to give you our keys to the series. Tag, how's it going?
It's good, man. It's good.
Would you like to get us started on any kind of leftover thoughts that you have from the weekend?
Yeah, I thought A&M played really well this weekend, even though they lost the series. Ben Royo, 7 for 8 this weekend after Kellner gets hit and replaces him. The good news is it sounds like Early's interview on TexAgs that Kellner, it is up tracking that he could play this weekend. So you could see both of them in the lineup. But yeah, just not anything to overreact. You lost back-to-back series, and you've played very well in 5 out of the 6 games, excluding game 1 of the doubleheader of Auburn. But you played well. Lost a couple one-run games, won a one-run game. Teams played overall very well. Batting average and just overall slug has gone down as you've played 2 really good staffs again. So it's nothing to stress over. But the ultimate news of this morning is kind of what's making A&M fans stress a little bit going into this weekend.
Yeah, I like what you said. Like I agree that A&M played well enough they were in the games. They could have easily won the series, but they didn't play well offensively, I would say, in games 1 and 2. They didn't play up to their standards. So they played well enough, but not good enough to win. Couple chats. Yeah, so Early has said no Sims at all this weekend. It's not going to be bullpen. He's going to take a rest. He's not going to play. It's muscle tightness of some kind. You're not going to see him at all this weekend. So that's kind of the breaking news. I would like to start. I want to go on a bit of a rant, just about some of the reactions on Twitter and Instagram from the series loss at Ole Miss that I thought was really frustrating. So here's what I'm going to do. We're going to go all the way back months ago. And I'm going to ask you as an A&M fan, or not you, Tag, just it's a rhetorical question. How good did you think this team was going to be before this year started in the preseason, way months back? After Early's first year, after everything that happened, like, how good did you think this team was going to be? Oh, and by the way, Caden McCoy, who's probably one of your weekend starters, is going to be out the entire year. You're not going to see him at all, which means you have to move a bullpen arm into a starting role. Oh, and by the way, Josh Stewart, who's probably one of your best bullpen arms, is going to go down in the first conference game of the year. Oh, and by the way, Chris Hakopian, your transfer second baseman, who's a top 10 draft pick, who's going to be a really important role in your team this year, he's going to be in and out of the lineup all year with all kinds of different injuries. And Nico Partita, your SEC potential freshman of the year, is going to go down near the end of the season, and you're basically not going to see him for the last 3 conference series. And then Boston Kellner is also going to go down, your shortstop. So given how badly year 1 went, and given all of these injuries and things that the team is going to go through, how good did you think the team was going to be this year? Because I actually have an answer. I have the SEC preseason coaches poll, and A&M was picked to finish 13th in the conference. And I could be blind or dumb, but I'm reading the conference standings right now, and it looks like they're sitting at second place. They're sitting at second place. They're 16-10. And by the way, the greatest A&M baseball team that we've ever had here, the 2024 team, finished conference play 19-11. Okay, if this team this weekend takes 2 of 3 from Mississippi State, they are going to finish 18-11. They're going to finish 1 conference game off of the greatest baseball team that we've ever had here because they didn't play the 3rd game against Texas. So I could be crazy. I think the staff has done a really good job with what they have. So that's my rant. Your thoughts?
Very well said. Like when you just put it objectively, all the injuries and everything, you'd be like, oh, they're 11th, 12th in the conference. No, they're second. They're second, and they've done nothing but excelled this year through even the rough patches. Like Chris played the first 2 games and was out maybe 2-3 weeks with his back issue. Partita, they said, I believe it's hamstring related. But like they're no matter who has been in the lineup for better half of the year, it's been nothing but successful. And the stat, like I know everyone wants to blame Jason Kelly for everything, but regardless of blaming a pitching coach, you're still second in the conference. That's like the thing everyone should hang their hat on. No matter how much we hate a pitching coach, no matter how much you hate the staff, no matter how much you hate anything, they are second in the conference, and they are a series win away from hosting until Omaha.
Yeah, very well said. About national seed, I think kind of the general role in the conference is if you want to host in the postseason in the SEC, you can't get swept. That can't happen. You need to defend home turf. You need to win your home series, and you can't get swept on the road. Those are kind of the things that that need to happen, and you need to take advantage of struggling opponents. A&M has lost 4 conference series, and they still have an opportunity to be a top 8 national seed because of this. They have not been swept this year, and they've taken advantage of struggling teams. They swept at Mizzou. They swept LSU. If they had dropped 1 game at Mizzou or dropped 1 game at LSU, we might be having a different conversation right now, and it might look a lot tougher for A&M to be a national seed. So that's important. The reason that they're in this conversation right now is because they've done well all year at just taking it 1 game at a time and grabbing a game when they can. I think that's all I have to say about the weekend. Do you have anything else, or do you want to?
Yeah, I wanted to add in, like, we talk about taking care of business, there have been multiple teams this year that have not taken care of business when they like speak of Vanderbilt this past weekend, they needed a sweep or at least a series win to keep their chances alive of without having to win the SEC tournament, and they lost the series
Yep.
at Missouri. So it's like they've taken in series where last year it didn't like you didn't take care of business. This year they have. So the improvement has been there from staff. Pretty much he's learned from his experience early in the staff have learned from experience. This is year two. They've made significant strides from year one, and that is the reason why A&M is in a they're a lock to host, and B they are looking to host through the supers.
This is something that we are going to get to a little bit later. The official starting rotation that's been released is Darden, TBA, TBA. So we're going to get to that later, but yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit later. So recapping the weekend in our SEC predictions, I went 3-5, and Tag went 4-4, so he beat me. Starting with Auburn, they took 2 of 3 at Mississippi State. Really impressive after losing the first game. So they're probably, you could argue, the hottest team in the conference right now. Arkansas took 2 of 3 from Oklahoma. Texas, that was the surprise of the weekend, dropped the series at Tennessee, came back and salvaged Sunday. Georgia swept LSU, pretty much ending their kind of playoff aspirations. Alabama swept South Carolina. Is that right? Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that was my ugly pick of the week. Florida took 2 of 3 from Kentucky, which I feel really frustrated about. I had Kentucky; they were up 6-1 in like the 8th inning and sold, so that was frustrating. And then another big story: Mizzou took 2 of 3 from Vanderbilt. So that's kind of the weekend. Do you have any kind of surprises about the weekend or any thoughts about any of that?
No, I was just like super impressed with Texas during game three. Like obviously they lose the series and it almost felt like they needed that. Well, they had to win to A, not to get swept, but B, to stay tied with A&M in the standings. And they absolutely dominated. Even though they gave up the grand slam in the first to tie it at 4, after that it was just 13-6 final. They were very good. And then like we said, Auburn and Georgia just continue to just just keep stacking these wins, and which makes for a very, very great series this weekend on the Plains.
Would you like to move to our SEC power rankings?
Yeah,
Would you like to go first, or would you like me to go first?
you can go first.
All right, I will go first. Does this work?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this works. All right. Starting off at number 5, I have Texas. I don't think you have Texas in your top 5. I still think it's really impressive. They've only dropped 2 series this year. I thought I probably would not have them in my top 5 if they had dropped the Sunday game, but I thought that was really good for them to, especially with Ruger, who's been very shaky. Like, I thought that was really good for them to come back and take the Sunday game. So I still think Texas is fine. They're scrambling a little bit because of the one thing that they can rely on has been their starting pitching, and that was not the case this last weekend. But I mean, it's just one series. They've dropped 2 all year. I still think they're really good. Arkansas at 4. They have had back-to-back really, really impressive series wins. Kind of finding their groove right when you want to find your groove, and they've worked their way into the hosting conversation. So uh, I still have us at 3, which screams that I'm just a homer, but I still think we're really good. Like, we're basically a foot away from taking the series against Auburn um, in game 2. Like that game right to the end, you could have taken that series. You were right there again with Ole Miss. You haven't been good in one-run games, but I still think we're really good. Um, Auburn at 2. The 1 and 2 is really interesting because we get to see this weekend. We get to see what happens. Auburn has been unreal. Like to drop the first game the way that they did, and then it was tight in game 2, and then they run ruled Mississippi State in game 3. So
Mm-hmm.
that's really tough to do anywhere, but they did it at Dudy Noble. That's very impressive. Auburn at number 2, and then Georgia's only dropped 1 series all year, so it's kind of hard not to have them top of the conference. We'll see if they continue to play this well throughout the rest in the final season or the final series, and then throughout the postseason. But yeah, those are my power rankings. Tag, go for it.
Yeah, so I have Bama at 5. Any time you win 6 consecutive SEC games, it's very impressive. The reason I have them below or them above Texas is the facet they lost games 1 and 2. It wasn't close. With Volantis, they did not win close, or they did not lose close. And with Luke Harrison, who's been pretty solid aside from the A&M start and some of Mississippi State, he's been very solid as well, and that wasn't close either. So if they had close losses, obviously they'd be in the top 5 still, but they just weren't. And for Alabama to consecutively win series, I guess they were against Missouri or I believe Missouri and South Carolina. But yes, they are a ranked team that has won 6 straight conference games. So yes, they're there. I have us at 4. Dropped 2 series, but you played well, so I didn't feel like you should move to 5 or out. And then I feel like Arkansas is such a streaky team, and I have them at 3. I believe I don't know who I'm taking this from, but I saw it on Twitter. It's like Arkansas is the team you don't want to have in your regional, the 2 seed in your regional. Well, now you might not have to worry about it because they're on track to host.
Yep.
2 is Auburn, very impressive. Like you said, at Dudy Noble this past weekend, yeah, they lost to Valincus, but a lot of teams lose to Valincus. And then the way they responded, just very, very resilient team. And then the Georgia Bulldogs at number 1. I would like to say, yes, we see 1 versus number 2 this weekend. However, there's going to be an asterisk next to it because we don't know how Wes Johnson's going to approach this. They have already won the SEC regular season. And is there a reason? Is there a reason why they need to play this weekend? Just being so for real. They're the number 1 seed, regardless, in the SEC tournament. They have won the regular season. We might not see Joey Volchko pitch game 1. We might not see Trey Phelps in the lineup. We might not see Daniel Jackson in the lineup. Who knows how they're going to approach it? But if they do approach it like they're there to win, because it is a rivalry series, then it will be one of the best series all year between any conference, any 2 teams. This will be the best series on paper all year.
Solid. Okay, it's time to get to the meat and potatoes. We're going to talk about the series this weekend. We are going to tell you pretty much everything you need to know about Mississippi State, what A&M needs to do, and yeah, if you want to be a pro on Mississippi State baseball, here we go. Number 10, Texas A&M is hosting number 13, Mississippi State. A&M, as I said before, is sitting at 16-10 in conference play. Mississippi State at 15-12. Both teams have dropped back-to-back series, and neither team has lost 3 consecutive series this season. So that's going to change this weekend. One team is going to be on a 3-series losing streak. A&M sitting at number 10 in the RPI. Mississippi State sitting at number 11. We've talked about this in our instant reaction to the Ole Miss series, but if A&M takes 2 of 3, you feel pretty decent about being a top 8 national seed. If you sweep, obviously you're a lock. You lose at home. If A&M loses but doesn't get swept, you're still hosting a regional, but the path to a national seed is really tough. And if you get swept at home, you might not be hosting at all. Maybe you'll be right on the line. Not sure. Do you have anything else kind of to add about that?
I thought it was very intriguing. D1 baseball still had A&M at 8. That's telling that if they win the series, they're going to be hosting. But once again, I'm pretty positive they don't make decisions. So, but I truly do believe with A&M listed at 8 this week that if they win this weekend, they will be a top 8 seed. It all depends on what happens in front of them, what happens behind them. I believe like Alabama, they could lose this weekend against. I believe they play Arkansas.
That's a
I
good
believe
question.
they're at Arkansas. We'll get to it. We'll get to it later.
Yeah.
But once again, these teams that are like right in front of them on the projected line, a lot of them have tough matchups. Like you could see we could see Georgia get swept this weekend. Yeah, they've won 20 wins, so obviously they're going to host. They're going to be a top 8 national seed. But if they get swept and A&M wins this weekend, they're going to have a very hard time, like who's playing best. But then you get another week at the SEC tournament, so all of it will get played out. You could pick up some wins there if you're A&M. You like Ty just said, you just need 2. Like you could win 1 this weekend, win 1 in Hoover, or win 1 or 2, and you'd feel great about hosting. But like that all being said, You're going to have to be good on the mound against this Mississippi State team, and you're without your best starter this weekend.
Thank you for watching, Logan. Love you, dude. All right, we're gonna move into general impressions on Mississippi State. Guess what? They're really good. Shocker, they're really good. You're gonna play another really good Mississippi State team. Really solid all around. Super balanced offense. They're a better offense than what you just saw at Ole Miss. They can beat you in different ways. The one weakness that I've kind of seen is they strike out a good amount. They're kind of streaky in that way, just like Ole Miss is. They can have days where they strike out a ton and they have trouble putting the ball in play. They have a really solid starting rotation. Again, one of the best Friday night. It'll be Thursday night, but one of the best kind of game one starters that you'll see in the country in Tomas Valinkis, and they strike people out. Their pitching staff strikes a lot of guys out, which will be a tough. We'll get into this later in our keys, but this will be a tough. That's a tough matchup for an A&M lineup that's been striking out too much the past couple of weeks. A couple general stats. Mississippi State's fourth. This is in the conference play. Mississippi State is fourth in batting average, fifth in RBIs, third in home runs, and third in slug percentage. So you see that power. They're really good at hitting the ball with people on base. They're really good at scoring. But then they have some trouble, like I said, getting on base at times. They're seventh in on base percentage. They're 11 in walks as an offense, and they're sixth in strikeouts, meaning they strike out sixth, the most offensive strikeouts. So yeah, they're really, really good. The only weakness there is kind of they strike out some and they're a little streaky. Do you want to get into kind of some guys to look out for in Mississippi State's lineup?
Yeah. As of late, Bryce Chance has come on. Like the last 2 weeks, he's had a grand slam. And those were his first 2 home runs of the year. He's very good at the top. Batting 369 on the season with a very low K rate at the top. And then you have one of the team with every team in this conference has draft guys, but this is the draft guy. Ace Reese is very good. 10 home runs in conference play. Batting average a little low for one of these projected first or second round picks. But still is very feared hitter. And then Jacob Parker's a freshman that's just really shined this year when he's played. We saw him up in Dallas, and he was a dude that I knew. Get off the bus guy, very big, very physical athlete. Has a lot of pop in the bat. I believe he had 2 home runs against UCLA. Very good player. Just like the whole team, though, they're very good. And then Noah Sullivan, their DH, has a lot of pop. 3 home runs on the year, but that does not translate to how good of a hitter he is. And then they have Garrett Frey, who's really sneaky on this team. He has 7 home runs as the second baseman in conference play, but this team's just very good all the way up and down, and they remind me very much of the Texas Longhorns.
Yeah. Talking about Mississippi State's offense versus A&M's pitching staff. We talked about it after the reaction to the Ole Miss loss. You really feel like A&M's pitching staff is moving in the right direction. You feel like maybe you found a little something for game one where you start Darden and then bring Shane in out of the pen, kind of let him watch the game for a bit and calm down and then bring him in. Well, that just got shaken up completely. The big news is, as I mentioned at the beginning, you will not see Aiden Sims this weekend. We'll get into that a little bit later. That was a little tangent, but Mississippi State's lineup versus A&M's pitching staff. Here's what frustrates me about the pitching staff still sometimes is some of those guys that they care so much. They want to play so well. They want to perform. And some of these guys like Shane Sadeo or Weston Moss, they give up a hit, they give up a home run, they give up some runs, and they get really frustrated. They start overthrowing, and then they start missing the strike zone, and things can kind of spiral. And for me, this is the frustration: is you are bottom of the conference in a lot of pitching categories. You are near the bottom of the conference in home runs given up. You are last in the conference in batting average against. You're bottom of the conference in hits and runs given, and all of these things. Going out there every day and getting frustrated the second something goes wrong, you're holding yourself to an unrealistic standard. Like everybody that you've played this year has scored against you. They just have. And so, for me, the key is like against this lineup, do not give them anything. Do not give them free passes. You are going to get hit. They are going to hit some home runs. It's just going to happen. It's happened all year. Just don't spiral, and get frustrated with yourself the second something goes wrong. That's kind of my thing.
Yeah, and I think like to some degree Shane struggled after I think it was in the fourth inning against Texas, but and that was after Robin's home run. But still, he looked very good in that start against Texas, and I feel like that's what. Obviously, it's not the rivalry of it's Texas coming to Olson, but this is the same caliber team coming to Olson, and I feel like you could see the same approach coming out of these starters of like they hit one here. Yeah, they're really good. Like they're every team's really good, and I feel like you've seen improvements throughout the year. It just came like Shane looked really good at Ole Miss, so that's a great
Yeah.
sign. However, in the inverse, Weston Moss had his best start against Auburn, and then it kind of looked back to kind of beginning of the year where he struggled, and then he didn't really even struggle. The first two innings were very good, and then the third inning just came along, and it was like, oh, I got barreled twice. Now I've got to overthrow, and now he's missing the zone. It's not close misses; they're just very large misses, which is inexplainable.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, like you can't give this lineup any free passes. Like you can walk someone, It's just when it's multiple, and then it leads to the big inning. Like
Yeah.
you can walk Ace Reese, you could walk one of these guys that's very good, and you could still get out of the inning, limiting trouble or allowing no trouble at all. But it's been at times this year where it's when one walk, it's led to another, or one walk and then it's a hit by pitch, then it's a gap shot or a home run, and then you just had a crooked number put up against you, and you're just digging this offense in this elite offense in a hole almost half your games this year. So I feel like they've been trending so much better this year, or towards the back half of the season. I would say Texas on. It's been very solid, even though you lost Florida game one big, even though you lost Auburn game one big. The trends have been there. It's just been a couple of outliers that make everyone very upset.
This is like a great little bounce off of what you were just talking about a little bit, Ty's comment. Like, you have not seen A&M in games 1 and 2 in these conference series very often jump out to a lead and play from in front. You see, and with your comment about free passes, like look at game 1 against Auburn, game 1 against Vanderbilt. You get down a little bit early, and then you start walking guys. The other team pulls away, and it feels like you're in a 5-run hole 30 minutes into the game. That's not sustainable, and it shows kind of as we get into game 1 here. A&M in conference play is 3-6 in game 1s. That's not sustainable. It's amazing that A&M is tied for second they are second in the conference while being 3-6 in game 1s. To come back and win these series against teams like Mississippi State or Vanderbilt, like to come at Florida, like to come back and lose game 1 and then come back and win the series is really impressive. But it gets to a point where it's just not sustainable. And A&M is going to be in a little bit of trouble this weekend if they drop game 1, especially if Tomas Valinkis goes far. So we'll kind of get into game 1 now. The pitching matchup, Mississippi State, it's going to be Tomas Valinkis. He's 5-2 in conference play, 2.82 ERA. Leads the team in innings pitched, 54 and a third. He leads the team in strikeouts, and he is 7th in the country in strikeouts. He's only walked 10 batters on the year, has a sub-1 whip. So that's at .94. And SEC opponents are batting .202 against him. Last week at Auburn, he was amazing. He went 6 2/3, gave up 3 earned runs. I think he gave up a 2-run homer on his last pitch of the game.
Yeah.
So that's a little misleading. It was a lot more like 1 earned run if he was pulled a little bit earlier. Only gave up 4 hits. I think Auburn was hitless through like 4 innings or something. Did not walk a single guy and struck out 13. So like I was talking about before, A&M has struck out too much the last few weeks. I don't have the exact stat, but you struck out what was 17 times in game 3
1.
against Ole Miss.
Or game 3, yeah.
You struck out like 14 times in game 1.
Mm-hmm.
Guess what? The guy that is 7th in the nation in strikeouts is going to start for Mississippi State tomorrow night. So, on paper, that doesn't look good for A&M with their game 1 struggles. Thankfully, though, the game is not played on paper. It's played on a field. So, you could see something different, but pretty rough matchup in game 1. You can get into
Yeah, well, I'd like to
A&M.
interject on. I want to add something on Valinkis. This is not your typical lefty. Like we just read Ole Miss and saw Hunter Elliott as your crafty lefty. No, this is a power lefty that can run it up the 98. Like this dude is probably the best. Well, he's very similar to Volantis, I would say. Like very similar, not profile. Volantis is like 6'7" or whatever how tall he is, but. Um, but this dude is just like him. Very great stuff. Is and like I said, can run up to 98. So you're facing one of the like seventh in strikeouts in the nation. This dude is very good, and trending. I mean, even though you just saw a lefty in Hunter Elliott that had very good success against this lineup, this is a very different left-handed pitcher that I would say would be more scary to match up. Even though you just saw that Ole Miss staff had great success.
And to your point, like in that Thursday night game against Auburn, he's in the 6th inning, like over 100 pitches, and he's still throwing 95 miles an hour. Like if you don't, this guy's not going to get tired if you don't run him out of the game. Like that's kind of the problem. And then for A&M, it's the only written in, penciled in starter, Ethan Darden, 1-1 in conference play, 5.11 ERA, 12 and a thirds innings pitched, giving up 13 hits, struck out 7, walked 11, 1.95 whip, and conference opponents are batting 277 against him. Was not sharp to start his first outing at Ole Miss last week. He went 2 innings, gave up 2 earned runs, 2 hits, walked 2 batters, and struck out 1, and he earned the loss. Threw 7 straight balls to start the game. Not what you want to see. That's not, to Ty's comment a little bit earlier about getting off to a better start. If you throw 7 straight balls against Mississippi State to start the game, they're probably going to score in the first inning, and you are going to be in yet another hole. And with no Aiden Sims, we'll get into game 2 in a second, but with no Aiden Sims, like there's a lot of pressure on Ethan Darden. You're going to have to be a lot sharper.
Yeah, your plan was to have something similar to what you saw Friday at Ole Miss, except you're expecting Darden to go longer and be more sharp, like first start nerves maybe were there. But now you're in a situation where you maybe can't afford to throw Shane Thursday, or you might not be able to throw Shane tomorrow. Who knows what the projection is? We don't know. Only the staff knows what they're doing. But I would, unless this game is a 1-run game in your favor or you're up 2, anything you're up more or anything you're down more, you will not be seeing Shane Sadeo tomorrow, which could be good, could be bad. We don't know. We don't know what Shane we're going to get. You could get the Ole Miss Shane. You could get the Auburn Shane. Who knows what you're going to get? If we're going off of what he did at Ole Miss against that lineup, which is streaky, and he shut him down, I would feel very confident in against a similar lineup where their best hitters are left-handed.
And that might be what he needed, or at least you hope that's what he needed. Maybe he's a lot more comfortable kind of sitting in the dugout for 2 or 3 innings and then going out there. Do we hope Darden goes more than 2 or 3 innings this time? Yes, you're going to need that. But I hope that maybe they found something with, Shane kind of starting the game in the dugout. Maybe that was good for him.
Yeah, I also wanted one last thing to interject for game 1. I think you want to see, or the staff and everyone's wanting to see kind of how they pieced it together in 24 in Omaha, where you went Lampkin against Florida for 4, and then you wanted to come in with Chris Cortez right after that. I think you kind of wanted to see something similar to that, whereas Lampkin gave you 4, and then Cortez gave you 3, and then you had Aschenbeck for 2 at the end. If you could get 4 from Darden and then 3 from whoever at this point, you would assume Shane if Sims was healthy. But if you could do that and then 3 and then fresh corn for 2 in the 9th, you set yourself up to be very successful. However, that's just not the case in how it went, A, Friday at Ole Miss, and B, how your bullpen is constructed currently with all the injuries you had with McCoy out, with Stewart out, and now you have Sims out. Like you're already in a disadvantage back there, but you could very well try to piece it together like that 2014 did.
Good point. Again, that's game one. Mississippi State 5-4 in conference opener series openers. A&M 3-6. We're going to get into this a little bit later. A&M is much better in games 2 and 3. It kind of looks like another weekend where you don't like A&M in game one, but then you feel decent about them being able to maybe take the next two. So we'll move. Do you know anything? Ty's asking about Partita. Haven't done my homework. I don't. He's probably not going to play.
So the injury report comes out at a day before first pitch. So at 6 o'clock today, we will hear if it's a game time decision. But hamstring pulls, I would not expect him play. However, we haven't got an update. I don't believe they asked him about an update. They didn't ask Coach Early about an update. So if I had to guess, he will be listed either out or as a game time decision. And I think the more intriguing is what will Kellner be on, or will he even be on the injury report for this weekend? So I think that's the more intriguing just because of the nature of the injury. I feel like a fractured orbital bone or whatever, there's nothing wrong. Like it's just the pain tolerance for that. For a hamstring injury that could get worse, I don't know if you will see him this weekend, but just be in check for the injury report. Zane does a great job reporting that when it comes out, and that will likely be out at 6 o'clock today, which is here in an hour and 24 minutes. So we will for sure know then, but we as they haven't given an update, we don't know an update. So
it's kind of it. That's it for game one. You hope you get something better out of Darden. I'll just list, for those that are curious, I'll kind of go into Shane's conference stats. A little bit better than what it was after the Auburn game. Still pretty rough. 9.08 ERA in conference play. Giving up 61 hits in 36 and 2/3 innings pitched. Struck out 47, walked 15 guys. His whip is still over 2.07. And Shane's batting average against, or opponent's batting average against Shane in conference play is 370. But again, as we mentioned, Shane was a lot better at Ole Miss coming out of the pen. Went 4 1/3, gave up 4 hits, 2 earned runs, only walked 2 batters, and struck out 5. So that was encouraging. And with like we said, with no Sims on Saturday, if you have a bad Darden start, Thursday night, tomorrow night, and maybe you don't use Shane, maybe you save him because you're going to need him later. So hopefully Shane continues kind of on that upward trend that started this last weekend. But yeah, that's kind of our thoughts on game one. Moving to game two, you're going to see Duke Stone for Mississippi State. 3-1. Also Mississippi State's 6-3 in conference game twos, and A&M is 7-2. So really good in game twos, because it's been Aiden Sims that started for you. Duke Stone for Mississippi State on Friday night. He's 3-1 in conference play, 5.08 ERA, 44 1/3 innings pitched, given up 55 hits, struck out 61. The whip is 1.74, and batting average against Duke Stone in conference play is 301. So it's not Tomas Valinkis. The strikeout number is still really good. Still strikes out a lot of guys, but he gets hit around a bit. So you feel a little bit more comfortable there. Last week against Auburn, he went 4 2/3, gave up 7 hits, 4 earned runs, walked 2 batters, and 7 strikeouts. So kind of like I just said, gave up 7 hits, struck out 7. He gets hit around. He strikes guys out. That's Duke Stone.
Yeah, we saw him in Dallas against that UCLA lineup. That's very, very elite. And he looked very good through about 4, I believe. But he gave up a few home runs to He gave up 1 to Gasparino, who was on a tear that weekend. And then he gave up 1 to Lavu as well, I believe. Don't correct me on that. But he looked very good. However, he does get hit around. It's big strikeout numbers, but also he gets hit around a lot. So just depends on the day. Like A&M could Cade Townsend was like this very elite guy who strikes out a lot of guys, but kind of gets hit a little bit. very similar to him, kind of, but he's not the best arm like at Ole Miss he is. Um, so like in A&M thrived against that scenario. So we'll see how this weekend goes. And then for game two, you would assume if Shane is not used, he will be the starter Friday. But if not, you could see Gavin Lyons. I don't know if you touched on that.
I did not.
See Gavin Lyons. You could see Juan Vargas, cut a bunch of the guys, or you could see Weston Moss throw that game, and then you move your bullpen game to Saturday morning. Don't know how that's going to look. Don't ask because we won't get told that until the lineup comes out on Friday. I don't think Early will leak who he's throwing.
No, there's no way.
Just the gamesmanship. We don't know, but we do know who they will be throwing. They will be throwing Duke Stone, and depends on how Thursday goes. If A&M wins Thursday, I fully expect Weston Moss to be throwing Friday. Just is what it
I
is.
agree with that. Definitely.
You're going for the series win, and you have an A starter that has continued to start this year. Therefore, I would expect you would see him to go for the series win. But if you lose that game, you don't know which direction you need to go because you need to salvage Saturday morning. And I would fully expect Moss to be in that situation.
Yeah, that's game two. Guys, games 2 and 3, when we're talking about these Friday and Saturday, it's going to depend on what happens tomorrow night. Like, that's the only way to put it. We will talk about it tomorrow night in our instant game reaction, what you'll see on Friday and Saturday probably, but we're just not going to know. It's going to be up to Darden, basically. So moving into game 3, Mississippi State, this is where you feel good. Mississippi State is 4-5 in game 3s in conference play. A&M is 6-2. They've been really, really good in game 3s. So Mississippi State got Ryan McPherson back, and he's been injured since. Do you know how long he was injured for before he started again?
I believe the Georgia series he may have got hurt, but
yeah. So Mississippi State's game 3 starter's been out for a bit. He played against Auburn, exited the game early. So you're probably not going to see him. You're probably going to see Charlie Foster. So we'll talk about Charlie Foster. He's 0-2 in conference play, 6.75 ERA, and he's given up 23 hits and 25 1/3 innings pitched. Struck out 22, walked 10. Batting average against him is .240. So Mississippi State, kind of similar. We're not really sure what they're going to do on game. It's probably going to be Charlie Foster, but they've been pretty shady about what Ryan McPherson's status is. So that's kind of a question mark for them too. And they have struggled in game 3s all year. So you certainly, like, looking at all 3 games, don't feel like A&M is going to be swept. Like, that doesn't feel like a possibility with Mississippi State struggles in game 3s. So if you can grab game 1, grab game 2, you feel decent about game 3, depending on A&M's pitching situation going into the game.
Yeah, if you were to feel confident about the game the most, I would say, well, we've talked about this ad nauseum. It would be Sims, but since Sims is not available this weekend, it would be the Saturday morning game because of like the unknown of Mississippi State. It's kind of like, the 2 guys that are there that are the question mark, but we don't know the status of them because O'Connor hasn't said anything, and you don't have to until 6:00 today. And even if he's not listed on the injury report, that doesn't mean he's going to start Saturday. That could mean he's out of the bullpen or vice versa. You don't know how long he's going to go, even if he is the starter on Saturday. But if you were to feel confident, it would be that game because of Charlie Foster's kind of struggles. He has he has good strikeout numbers for what he's been asked to do. However, he's had a lot of walks for those numbers, not a great strikeout to walk ratio. But like we said, it's like all depending on this A&M staff, and more specifically, if Darden is able to do if he's able to build off of what he did at Ole Miss, not just do what he did at Ole Miss. If he's able to give you 4 with 2 runs or 4 with 1, whatever it is, whatever the building block is for the staff for him, if he's able to accomplish it, you will be very competitive in all 3 games this weekend. But if he does get hit around, you might be seeing, if he does get hit around and he struggles a little bit, you might see Florida, game 1 at Florida. You might see that. It just might happen.
Yeah.
but you do feel good about some of the arms that have been brought into these situations. Like I know we talked about this. Hunter Bond was a bright spot at Ole Miss. And he's been good. He's been good the midweeks that when he's been asked, and he's been. I don't really remember the Auburn outing, but I believe he was solid, not great, but solid in that outing as well. So it's all depending on Thursday, which I mean, it just is what it is with when you're without your best starter and the injuries to this bullpen already. But yeah, it's all based on can you get good innings out of Darden on Thursday.
Yeah. Again, I said it before, and Tag just said it. I'll repeat it one more time. We don't know what A&M is going to do on Friday and Saturday. We will talk about it tomorrow. That's kind of when we'll have a better idea. So really, all we can talk about is Mississippi State. General impressions, though, is it does feel like it kind of lies in tomorrow night in what's going to happen. If Darden does not pitch well, you don't feel good about the weekend. If Darden does pitch well, you feel a lot better about the weekend. That's kind of where my attitude is at. I'm not sure if you feel the same way because again, like at Florida, game 1 against Florida, you got bounced, but you kind of, I don't want to say through the game, but you bet on Sims the next day instead of trying to stay in the game and waste arms because you're so limited. So that's what it's going to be. If this game is not close on Thursday, you're going to see like a Luke Billings and that kind of thing like you did at Florida. But if Darden pitches well, A&M's got a good shot to win because of Mississippi State a little bit shakier in games 2 and 3.
Yeah, I feel like this series, like you said, it kind of depends on Thursday. I'll out myself right here. I feel like the Texas series was determined on Friday night. If Texas would have won Friday, they probably would have won the series, barring we all know what happened weather-wise. But if you would have told me Ruger is very solid and A&M does not have a great performance Friday, I would have told you they would have lost the series. Like if crystal ball, whatever, they would have lost the series. But they were very good on Friday against Texas. And so it's the series reminds me, they remind me of Texas. This series reminds me of Texas, of whoever wins this Thursday game or whoever starter, like if Valinkas gets chased and you lose the game, but that you make them use their legit bullpen arms and you lose by 1 or whatever, you still feel very good about how Friday and Saturday will be because you've already seen their high leverage arms. Like, how LSU looked at against Fresh Corn the second time they saw him. It was much better ABs against him. That's just baseball. Like when you've seen an arm multiple times, you feel more confident in yourself when you know how they pitch you know what it looks like. So if you are able to chase Valinkas early and you still lose that game, I feel like you're very good. But if Valinkas does what he does against Auburn and that exact final score from Auburn, Mississippi State, and you lose kind of big, you obviously are like, all right, well, what's going to happen now that you don't have Sims? You got to rely on that point of we've got to win 1. We got to retool the mindset of this weekend of we've got to win the series we've got to avoid getting swept at home. Based on how Thursday goes.
Let's move into the Mississippi State bullpen. Kind of my general impressions looking at it. The back end is solid. Ben Davis is kind of their closer. You're going to see him. A lot of strikeouts. So that's kind of again on par with what we've talked about with Mississippi State's pitching staff. Middle relief, like it's a little light. Their bullpen is a little bit light. So that's as to Tag's point. If you can do decent enough against Tomas Valinkas and he doesn't go 6 2/3 like he did against Auburn or whatever, you chase him a little bit earlier, you get into Mississippi State's bullpen. It is lighter. And so that's where the game is going to be won or lost probably for A&M's offense. And the guys that they are light in the bullpen, as I said, but the guys that they do roll out there besides Ben Davis can struggle with, with walking some guys, giving out free bases. General impressions, a lot of strikeout stuff, but they can have command issues and walk some guys. Do you want to go over any guys specifically in Mississippi?
Yeah, I feel like the guy who stands out, I would say, is the former Virginia commit when O'Connor was at Virginia still, is Jake Bauer, everyone's going to look at this dude and be like, this dude is insane. He runs the fastball up to 103 as a freshman. Yeah, this dude's legit. However, he is a freshman. The walk issues can be there in the limited sample size. Like he's only thrown 12 in the third innings. However, like we said, like this A&M lineup has been patient all year, and if you can see many pitches from not just Volinkis in general, but this bullpen, you're setting yourself up for success. And their closer Ben Davis is very good too, just like every closer in this league is. Like Florida's closer is really good. LSU, when they get to their closer, is very good. Like even the not so great teams have a great closer. So this Ben Davis is just one of the higher echelon of closers in this league, and his stuff, 36 strikeouts to 7 walks, very good as the closer. And they're not afraid to use him in multiple innings either. He's thrown 26 in the third innings and he's only got 2 saves, but that's mainly because of the score of the games that he's been used in. Like you'll see him. Probably you will see him Thursday, regardless of the score. They usually use them to secure wins, regardless of the score. And they use them for multiple innings. It's like fresh corn, but the save numbers aren't there.
That's kind of, yeah. I mean, that's all I have about Mississippi State in general. We can move into our keys and what A&M needs to do to win this weekend. My key is very simple. You have to limit your strikeout numbers. A&M has, and they've, as I said, lost back-to-back series, struck out too many times versus Auburn. You struck out too many times against Ole Miss. You can't do that. You can't do that this weekend. If you were to show me the box score, I guess, of Thursday night's game without the score, and I see that A&M struck out 14 times, Mississippi State probably won the game. If you strike out like that, especially with your pitching issues, you could also just get straight up run out of the building on Thursday night, like you did against Auburn. The offense has to step up. They need to be better. That's my key.
And my key, it's maybe not so necessarily A&M factor, but if Mississippi State takes advantage of the free passes when they do inevitably happen, they will, like you just said, they will run you out of the park. And it's kind of like Messione from Auburn kind of had a little bit of trouble, and then Mississippi State absolutely took advantage of it. So they're a trendy offense. So if they take advantage of the free passes that you give them, you will be in a lot of trouble this weekend. So if the A&M staff can dial it down and, like we said, not get too emotional after one walk or one hit, they will be in great shape. But if Mississippi State takes advantage of these free passes, it will not be a great weekend for A&M, and you will have to rely on an SEC tournament to get yourself a national seed.
It would just feel so good Thursday night if you can jump out to a lead, you put up a scoreless inning or two to start the game, and you jump out to a lead. That's where you start to feel better, and that just has not been the story for A&M this year, especially in series openers. And that's why when you look at Sundays and game 3s for A&M, why they've been so good. You look at the Auburn game this last week, guess what? They scored first. When they played Georgia, they got run out of the building basically in games 1 and 2. They scored first in game 3 and played unbelievably better. Just get off to a little bit better of a start. And then, like you said, and like I said earlier for the pitching staff, this is what I've been frustrated with is you are going to get hit. Like the pitching staff is going to give up some hits. You are going to get hit. Mississippi State is going to hit the ball over the fence a couple times this weekend. They're going to get theirs. They're really good. Just don't help them. Like you said, don't get frustrated when it happens. If A&M is up 1-0 after the first inning or something, and then Ace Reitz hits a home run, it's okay. It's okay. Just come back and throw strike 1. Don't spiral. Don't get frustrated. Just it's going to be okay. Just pitch and throw strikes. That's all. Oops. That's all I've got. Do you have anything else?
No, I think that's a perfect statement. Like if A&M pitching attacks the zone and they're in the zone often, they get hit around. Like at least it's not what we've seen the past however many games A&M's lost. Like to Darden's, like at the beginning of the game, like they went 7 straight balls, walked, single, ground
Yep.
ball double play. Yeah, you got the ground ball double play. You had already given up the run. Like at least you didn't it didn't spiral into a crooked number. But they settled. There's been parts of the year where this pitching staff's absolutely settled down and they've figured it out. Like the Texas game, for example, we go up. We go up 1-0. They get the bases loaded with one out and only score one.
Yep.
We're up 2-1. They hit an RBI double. That's it. They didn't score. And then
Yep.
after you saw the Robbins home run, they were right back in the zone. Even though these talented lineups are going to get theirs, at parts of the time this season, this team has made you think, why can't they do this all the time?
Yeah, exactly. That's final thoughts. I feel like I've said it a million times because it's just like frustrating to me. Mississippi State is going to get theirs. They're going to score. They are going to get some hits. That's what's going to happen. It's just going to. That's what the numbers say from A&M's pitching staff this year. That's okay. You have the offense to answer that. Just don't give them anything extra. So that's Mississippi State.
Do we want to touch on the possible lineup for this weekend before we go into
go for it.
For the SEC series?
Yeah.
I just want to whether we see Kellner or not, we would all expect Ben Royo to be playing after last weekend. With how we know Chris is with what Chris is dealing with and the Partita injury, I think Ben Royo we will either see him at shortstop if Kellner can't play, or we still might see him at short and Kellner might be at second base. But if you see him at all in the middle infield this weekend, you are feeling great. I fully expect Gavin to be at third again, depending on what we see here in about an hour from the SC injury report. Yep. But if you get Partita back, the whole mood for this weekend changes, in my opinion, because now you have Gavin back at first, which is he's an elite defender wherever you put him, but you just feel so much better about this lineup, and you don't. And then, or what was I going to say? Sorry, no, Dewar will be in left field due to Chris being the DH. But it gives you more flexibility. It gives you more flexibility. They have Valenka's a left-handed pitcher. This lineup has thrived at times against left-handed pitching. Will it continue? Yeah. I think it will. You might not see 5 runs, 4 runs. It might be 3-2, and you will absolutely take that against Valenkas.
You will take a win, whatever it looks like.
No, I'm just saying 3-2 when Valenkas is out of the game. I'm just saying.
You will. Oh yeah, that's like Christmas morning. Yeah. If you have a lead when Valenkas is out of the game, it's Christmas. Mm-hmm. We're having a party. The only other thing I wanted to touch on, which this is a little bit off track. I forgot to say it earlier when talking about the pitching staff. Something I think that a lot of people don't see though is in the conference standings and conference play, they are 6th in runs given up, as in least amount of runs given up. So they've given up a lot of hits at times, but how many times have you seen A&M in a bases where the opponent has the bases loaded or something and they're able to get out of it with minimal damage? I feel like they've done a really, really good job of that all year. And guess what? That comes with what we were talking about before, where Mississippi State's going to get theirs. They're going to get some hits. Just don't give them anything extra. And that's what with free bases and getting frustrated when things don't go your way. That's why A&M's been so good at that, is they give up a hit and they go right back and throw strike one. And so, shout out to the pitching staff because they get so much heat, but they are actually pretty good at kind of getting out of those, at leaving runners on base and getting out of those situations. That's my last comment.
Yeah, they're very good at limiting the big inning, and we can end it on that. The outliers are Auburn, obviously. That's the outlier, and then a couple of Georgia games, and then Vanderbilt to some extent. But other than that, this team has been great at limiting the big innings, the 4, the 5 spots. Yeah, they might give up a crooked number here, a 3-run homer to whoever. Ace Reese might hit a 3-run homer this weekend. But if you come back and throw strike one, like we've said, all of this can be avoidable. But yeah, now we can get back to our SEC predictions.
This is perfect timing because I have the Instagram post for our picks scheduled to go out at 5. So it's going to happen while we're talking about it. It's actually really cool. I'm just magical and stuff. All right, let's start with hopefully the premier matchup of the weekend. Like you were talking about, we don't know how Georgia's going to play this, which is a part of why my pick is the way it is. But number 4, Georgia is going to travel to number 5, Auburn. the number 1 and number 2 team in the conference. In terms of power rankings, not standings,
Mhm.
but I would argue Auburn's the second best team in the conference. Who do you like?
If Georgia approaches it like they're going in there to win a rivalry series, I think Georgia's the obvious, well, not the obvious pick. Sorry, not the obvious pick. Um, the trendy whatever. This lineup's been insane. Like no matter who they're playing against, this lineup has got theirs and then some. Like Daniel Jackson has 25 home runs and 25 stolen bases as a catcher.
Yep.
And Trey Phelps leads the league in hitting. O'Shaughnessy has 17 homers. This lineup is all the way through is just very good. And if their rotation can get it, like Dylan Vigou's been probably the second best Saturday starter in the conference, behind Liam Peterson or Aiden Sims, whoever you want to count. But Dylan Vigou's been very good. And then if they get Sunday's been very good for Georgia after the Mississippi State series. They went to Caden Aoki, who's kind of been out of the bullpen, kind of started at USC last year, was a starter there, but was kind of just like a closer bullpen guy for Georgia this year. They moved him to Sunday, and he's been very good each time he's gone out there. So for that reason, if Georgia approaches this like they're going to win a series, then I have Georgia. But if obviously if this could change after we see how they approach Friday. They play tomorrow, so I believe so. We'll see tomorrow how they approach it.
Mm-hmm.
If they don't approach it, obviously everyone's going to go Auburn. But if they actually approach it like they're going to win, Georgia's a very good team, and especially on the road.
Yeah, I am. I've took Auburn just actually like it was funny when you started talking about it. That was my reasoning was they've already won the conference. They're the number 1 seed in the SEC tournament. They don't have to play that. They don't have to win this series. They don't need to. And so that a part of me, and Auburn too is also I feel a national seed lock. But yeah, I don't know how Georgia's going to approach this series. Also, I mean, if both teams played at their max capability and both tried to win the series, Auburn could still win the series. I was really impressed with how Auburn shut down our lineup. They shut down Mississippi State in the last 2 games that they played. They're hot. I mean, they kind of started heating up when they played us, and then they're red hot right now. So, and it's at Auburn as well. So that'll be a really cool atmosphere. That'll be an awesome series, hopefully. I've got Auburn. Tag's got Georgia. Moving on, number 15, Ole Miss at number 18, Alabama. I am taking Ole Miss. I think both of us are taking Ole Miss.
Yeah, we both have Ole Miss. The reason I have Ole Miss is because of how this lineup, how they played as a whole against A&M. It's just they played very well, and they need it. They absolutely need it this weekend to host.
Yep.
If they win 2 out of 3, they will be a host. According to D1 Baseball, they will be a host. And I just like the matchup personally. Like I think if Hunter Elliott could give you half of what he gave you, like strikeout production, if he gives you half of what he did against A&M, you feel very good. This lineup's very, like we said, it was streaky. It was game 1 and game 5 or game 3. They were very good. The numbers they only scored 5 runs in both games, or 5 or 6 runs in both games, but their at bats were very good. And I think it continues against the Alabama staff. Yeah, they're good, but they're very up and down roller coaster. And I feel like they've been up for so long that it inevitably has to go down. So I feel like Ole Miss is going to win this weekend.
Yeah. Also, slight favoritism because they just beat us. I mean, we can't take Alabama. We just can't do it. But yeah, no Justin LeBron. What's the catcher's name?
Oh, Brady Neal. We don't know his status.
We don't know his status. You just can't take Alabama. You just can't. You can't do that. You can't do that in good conscience. Yeah. So we both got Ole Miss. Moving on to, oh man, if this could happen, Missouri at number 6, Texas. Guys, like you look back to last year, second to last series, Mizzou came to College Station and swept A&M. Imagine Twitter and Instagram and Austin if Mizzou goes in there and takes down Texas. We both have Texas.
I think the whole world has Texas. Anyone with a pulse has Texas. But back to what we said. We've said this, I think, every time we've talked about Missouri. They have a good Friday night starter in McDevitt. Yeah. So there is a world where it happens, where they shut down Texas. The only problem is, with that being said, that Texas has the best Friday night starter in the conference. However, he did just get rocked by Tennessee, so he is trending downward. But I don't think Missouri's not. It's not going to happen.
Missouri is going to live and die with their starting rotation. Their starting rotation has kept them in a lot of games. You look at Missouri throughout the year; they've been in a lot of games. They've just been bad at winning the games, which is kind of the thing that matters at the end, right? Texas has been really good at home. Missouri's been bad on the road. The Aggie in us wants to take Missouri. The Aggies in us want to take Missouri, but you can't do that logically. It's just not the right pick. So we're both
good part
taking
about
Texas.
it, Caden. The good part about it is that no one will show up for this series anyway.
That's true. Yeah.
So Missouri might have a home crowd.
They'll play in front of the raucous crowd of 30 people will impact the game. Would that mean then that Texas has a really like crazy neutral site record since it's not much of a home field advantage? They don't have many home games.
The problem is you see the crowd during the regional games where it's like it's in them. They can show up. So it's just the problem is they only show up when it matters, which it just doesn't make sense. Like their team is very good. Why aren't people there?
Yeah. We're not insulting. We're just asking questions. That's all. All right, we both have Texas. Moving on. Number 12, Arkansas, Kentucky. This one feels weird. You just feel weird about it. I don't know why. I have Arkansas.
I have Arkansas as well. But like we always talk about Kentucky when you talk about Kentucky the past 3 years almost, even though they were the number 2 team in the country in 24. Every time that Kentucky either is at home or on the road for that matter, there's the way they play. It can translate so well against whoever they match up well against everyone. They can hit a home run here and there, and they do the little things right every time. No matter how much we hate Mannion or go ahead.
I have a question. I've been meaning to ask you this. So Kentucky, for like every year that Mingion's been there, they lead the freaking nation in hit by pitch. Do you know why? Why are they? It's not a mistake. They're number 1 like in hit by pitch every year. Why? What do they do?
I mean, I feel like a lot of them are always like I know for a fact Nolan McCarthy, because he was at Kentucky, then he went to Georgia the following year, being more intapped with Georgia games just because that program. But they stand on the very white line, and they are on that white line, and they don't move out of the way. They just let it hit them because they're a very gritty team. So they play a lot of small ball. Yeah. They advance runners. That's just who they are with Mannion.
If you move out of the way, you're not allowed to be on their team. It sounds like you have to take.
Yeah, I mean, but they're also when they do get on base, they score. When they get the leadoff guy on, they score a lot of the time. I can't tell you their numbers, but it's just historically they score a lot whenever they get the leadoff guy on because they bunt him over and they're so good moving runners.
Yep.
Plus they all steal bases. They're all very quick. But like we said, like Arkansas is very talented, and now they're hot and they're trending at the right time. I think I like Arkansas a lot.
Yeah, we both have Arkansas. Moving to number 19, Florida at LSU. LSU's postseason hopes are pretty much over unless they make a run in Hoover. Florida they just took down Kentucky. So they're going to head to the box. No idea what the crowd's going to look like. Assume it'll be a good crowd because it's Florida. Those two hate each other. Who do you like in this one?
I think the pitching here, they got LSU not dominating game 1, but games 2 and 3 they got dominated on the mound by Georgia, and they're facing a better staff this weekend in Florida. So therefore I'm gonna go with Florida. Just based on, even though I know Aiden King kind of struggled against Kentucky, and to some degree Oklahoma, but he was very good through Aiden. Oh, never mind. He was very good against Oklahoma. The bullpen gave it up, but I just trust Aiden King from what I've seen from when I watch Florida play. He's always the best player on the field. And then I like Leighton Peterson a lot. Obviously, everyone does. The MLB world loves him because he's very projectable, very, very big athletic specimen. and he throws very hard. So I just think Florida is just way more talented. However, that being said, Florida's lineup is very up and down. LSU could make it close, but I don't. I
Yeah.
just trust Florida's pitching to be so much better than LSU's.
And here's my thing, like also about the last two games at Georgia. You just felt like I watched, kind of a little bit of those games back. You just felt like LSU finally quit a little bit. Like that, they have with Jay Johnson, and like that program is so proud and that coaching staff is so elite. But like, it's been a rough year, and those last two games, like you're getting the crap beaten out of you on the road. Just felt like they quit a little bit.
Yeah,
Morale was terrible. I mean, obviously dugout energy has been bad all year, but it still means something to play for LSU. It still means something to win those games, even if you're going to miss the postseason. Like they're a proud baseball program, and that was the first series this year where they just felt like they were kind of done and they didn't want to be playing baseball anymore.
yeah. It
If
also, sorry to cut you off, but it
Yeah, go
also
for it.
doesn't help when your national championship, two-time national championship winning head coach calls the other team the best offense he's ever seen after game one.
Yeah.
So that doesn't
No.
help.
Yeah.
That definitely does not help when
Yeah.
when you have him praising Georgia middle of the series. But
And
that
Jay,
being said, no, it's
I do appreciate Jay kind of being like that. I mean, you remember his press conference after whatever series it was, where he basically said, "We missed in the transfer portal." What he said, without saying it literally, was, "Our players are not very good." That's literally what he said.
literally what he
Um,
said.
he's very honest. He has national championships on his back. He is not the problem. He did not all of a sudden become a terrible coach. Their staff just missed on some guys, and some players are not, you know, are not executing. And we talk about this. Like the coach's job is to put the players in a position to make plays, and then the players actually have to make the plays. And their players have not made plays this year. And at this point, he's playing a lot of freshmen, and he's being very honest about where their baseball program's at. And I think that's what that was when he calls Georgia the best offense that he's ever seen. Like that's what he's frustrated, and he's just saying what he sees. There's no filter anymore. It's fun to watch. So Tag and I both have Florida. Another one, feel weird about this one. Like if I looked and LSU was up, up in these games, it wouldn't surprise me.
No.
But guess what? When LSU's been up, they lose. They give up the lead. So it's been the problems have been everywhere for LSU this year. Final two series of the weekend: Tennessee at Oklahoma. Tennessee, obviously, morale could not be higher. You take down Texas. They are now 3-1 against Texas since they joined the conference, and they're going to travel to Oklahoma, who just came off of a series loss at. Did they just play at Arkansas? Yeah, that just happened. Okay. I have Tennessee. You have Oklahoma.
I
Please
do.
tell me why.
I do. I feel like the pitching's just gotten better since they've moved Mercilus to Friday. I think the pitching's just been better. And then you talk about you got to win Sunday, like the morale boost of winning Sunday. They did that against Arkansas and won 15-10. So they can score with the best of them. Yes, Tegan Kuntz is very good on Friday for Tennessee. However, I just think I don't know why. And also, who knows? There could be another tornado in Norman, Oklahoma this weekend. And therefore, I also like how good their at bats are. Like, talk about a gritty team. Oklahoma reminds me of these Kentucky teams we talk about. They see a lot of pitches. They play small ball at times. And it is very effective when a lot of teams in this conference rely on home runs. And speaking of relying on home runs, that is exactly what Tennessee did this weekend against Texas. So I just feel like Oklahoma can match up well against them. It just depends on, like we've talked about all of this in general. It all depends on how game one goes. This series, especially if they can't hit Tegan Kuntz, Tennessee's probably going to win the series. But I think that they can be more competitive than what Texas did against them.
I also like I just like where Tennessee's offense is at right now. I don't know if you saw the picture of the way that they prepared for Dylan Volantis. They put a pitching machine on top of a chair on the mound. Like the way that they prep, like I don't know what it is. I saw that video and I was like, you know what? Hell yeah, Tennessee. I love their preparation. Their offense looks better.
Ewander's like improved a lot from beginning of this year to where they are now. It kind of feels very like I'm pretty positive he was the hitting coach under Vitello.
Yeah.
it feels very like Michael Early there. Like Vitel leaves to go to the Giants very late in this coach cycle, and they were just like, "Oh, we need to hire Elander to in-house whatever." It feels very similar, except that team's not been injured, like been hit with the injury bug that A&M did last year. But like he's learning, like he's a very good coach, and it's proving like they're trending up at the right time, and that's what you need to do.
And then moving on. Okay, so I have Tennessee. You have Oklahoma. Moving on to the final series of the weekend, South Carolina at Vanderbilt. I'll tell you what, I have Vanderbilt because I hate South Carolina, because I picked them to beat Alabama and I felt very good about it, and they didn't do that for me. And so I hope they get swept, and I hope they get run ruled in every game, because I can't stand them because they made me look silly.
I was this close to picking South Carolina, and then I was like, you know
Go
what?
for it.
No, I'm good. I think who knows what Vanderbilt's got to play for. They keep being told they're done. They're done unless they win the SEC tournament, which could very well be the case. Like we don't know what everyone's thinking.
They're at 11 conference wins.
It would indicate that they're cooked. Just to say it plainly. But I feel like Tim Corbin's like still gonna try to get them riled up to play well. And South Carolina's just nowhere near as talented as this Vanderbilt offense. And they struggled against Alabama's offense without LeBron and Brady Neal. Therefore, Vanderbilt's offense will have a field day, especially at home.
I forgot to show this Ty's comment. This was about Kentucky and why they get hit so much. They just, they put on like skiing stuff. Like they have huge elbow guards and jerseys, and that's why, for sure. Thank you, Ty. That made me laugh. Last thoughts about the game. I'm not even going to get into stats and why I think Vanderbilt's going to win. I just want to express how bad I hate South Carolina. Like as I have always said, and as Josh Pate also says, my picks are never wrong. It's the players and the coaches and the officials that mess it up. And South Carolina messed up, and they will pay, and they will be swept. Here's, before we go, who's going to be the next head coach at South Carolina?
Everything, all the things I've read into it, it seems like Coastal Carolina's head coach is going to be the new coach at South Carolina. But I feel like it's kind of ECU's been a great program, as in East Carolina. I'm just going on a tangent here. East Carolina's head coach has been great. The last however many years, East Carolina's been very good, and he never left. So Coastal Carolina can, and they have South Carolina right there. So you would ask, why wouldn't he leave for the bigger program with more money, with more assets? And he never did it. And ECU's been very good until last year. So my question is, why does he need to leave Coastal Carolina? They were just in the national championship game against LSU, and they're obviously they're ranked now. Just they lost to Georgia Southern this past weekend. But why would he need to leave Coastal Carolina? It's a good program there, and they're going to be always fighting to win that conference every year. They're going to be fighting to win that the Sun Belt every year. So why do you need to leave to go to South Carolina when you're recruiting against North Carolina, you're recruiting against Clemson, you're recruiting against Georgia and Florida State for that matter. You're literally fighting against all these premier programs. While at Coastal Carolina, you're just recruiting what you've been recruiting.
And you have to play in the SEC.
Yeah.
That's kind of it for everything we wanted to cover. I guess my closing thoughts, going back a little bit to the rant I went on to begin the show. This team being in a position to be a national seed, a top 8 national seed, if they win the series this weekend, is incredible, given the injuries to the pitching staff, and kind of the lineup changes that they've gone through, and some of the freakish injuries that the lineup has experienced. I mean, 2 guys on this team have been hit in the face by fastballs. How does that happen? Like, that's unheard of.
I've never seen anything like
injury luck. So get to Olson tomorrow, Friday, and Saturday, guys. Make a difference, be loud. If you want postseason baseball at Olson all the way through till Omaha, get to Olson and come be a part of that and help this team win, because they can do it.
I'd like to touch on 2 things. Sorry for going like really long. We had a lot to cover today. B, no pick from us. We've decided after the homer in us, obviously we want A&M to win every week, and obviously we've picked A&M to win every week that we've done this, and that has not happened.
Yeah.
So therefore, and also we don't want to be the guys that pick the other team and then show up to the game like, oh,
Yeah.
um, but to say like we appreciate everyone watching, and yeah, like Caden said, like you get the chance if you win the series this weekend to have Olsen Magic through up until Omaha.
Yep.
So please come support the guys. They're gonna be competitive in these games. Like we obviously know they're not trying to lose guys. Like they're not trying. We might some of y'all
These
might hate
players are
the.
more frustrated than we are, and than you are, Instagram coaches, Logan. The players are even more frustrated than you are.
So yeah, thank you for watching, and we'll see you at Olsen this weekend.
Yeah, Logan, if you're still watching, get your thumbs ready. You gotta be an Instagram coach this weekend, so get ready for that. See everybody